Hey guys, welcome back to the High Homes YouTube channel and welcome back to another Client Talks where we share with you guys the real stories behind the soul posts. And today we're here with Ali and Jonida. Welcome to the High Homes channel.
My name is Ali Hassani. I was born in Iran, moved to Canada when I was young, spent my whole life there. I studied there, opened up a business. I'd like to say successful, and
I'm sure it was.
That's what I do. I mean, I manage my business. We have a family, 5 of us, 3 kids.
Wow.
Who are 8, 6, and 4, if I do the math right. And I met my wife there, Jonida, and we got married. How long has it been now? 10 and a half years?
11 years.
11 years? That's the gist of my whole... I mean, I've got family all around the world, but grew up in Canada.
Hi. So similar to Ali, I'm also an immigrant to Canada. I was born and raised in Albania, moved there when I was 15. And fast forward 2 decades later, we decided to move again and we moved our family to Spain.
Wow. Amazing. So just for some context for the people who are watching this, you guys purchased a beautiful property with the help of our rock star, Cass. We call Cass Kick-Ass Cass or Classy Cass, one of the two. Before we go into like the journey of buying a property in Spain, can you tell us why you chose Spain? I mean, from Canada, you guys decided to relocate here. What a big move. And especially you are, let's say, an example of what we've been talking about on the channel for so many years, how we have a younger profile of relocators, when, relocators in Spain used to be, let's say older generation. Now we see younger families like yourself. So why does a young family choose to move, the entire family, kids, young kids to Spain, and why Spain?
I think 2 reasons. One, weather. We lived in Ottawa in Canada and it can get cold for a majority of the year. Although we tried to integrate into winter sports and our kids love the winter sports as well. And we wanted more of the outdoor possibilities with warmer weather year round. So we looked at a few options, but ultimately you can't beat the weather in this area. And the second one is to slow down. We were finding we were getting into that daily grind, and partially because of weather, partially because of just lifestyle in general, we found ourselves pretty much closed off after 5 p.m. and on, and you were just at home or running the daily activities. It wasn't, hey, let's go for a walk or let's do a bike ride. And so both of those 2 things were, I'd say, the biggest factors for us.
So did you guys decide, okay, we want a change of life, and then you started searching for different locations to possibly move to? How was that process?
So it was actually essentially that, and we had looked at a few options. We had even looked at the States. We had looked at Portugal. Costa Rica was one of them. We even, because I'm originally from Albania, we even thought of Albania. But again, when it comes down to weather and lifestyle is similar, but weather, this was what called to us. I had been here in 2012 when I first met Ali. And after that trip, I remember thinking, if I ever get to move or leave Canada, that's where I'm going.
Wow. And Ali, did you know Spain at that time?
No, I'd never been. We were talking for about 2 years about moving. But I'd never been, and she's like, let's go visit Spain, and we did. Our first
2012, that was your first trip?
No.
That was my first
right.
trip.
2 years ago. What was it?
It was January of 2024.
January 2024 is when you sort of came together.
It's hard with the 3 kids.
Yeah. So we ditched 2 of them.
Yeah.
We brought the youngest one with us.
She was the easiest at the time to be able to just hop on a stroller and explore, because it's a lot easier than having to drag them to walking and such. So they're troopers now, but we eased them into it. And
we did a whole trip. We started off in Barcelona, went down the entire coastline.
Wow.
Valencia, and then all the way down to here, down to Estepona.
We stopped at Nerja, and that's where we stopped. And then after that, when we went back home and we were serious about making this movie, literally within a month of being there, we listed our house.
Yeah. Wow.
This was this is it. We've made the decision.
Real
we
action
told our
takers.
family, we were like, this is it. Because we didn't know how long it would take to list our house. Ideally, we would have wanted to be here a year ago, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Life happens,
How did your family take it? Was it like a shock to them?
Honestly, they're still not accepting it, even though we're here.
My dad asks me every other day, he's like, are you happy? I'm like, you know what, Dad? No, I'm not. The weather here is really horrible.
I'm not getting the same reaction. But I think part of the reason is because our family sacrificed to move us to Canada in the first place. And now at essentially the age they moved there, we now left Canada to move here.
So walk me through that journey. So you decide, okay, we're going to drive, we're going to travel to Spain and we're going to drive the entire coastline. That's a massive drive. Like, how was that sort of, comparing, exploring? Tell us about the exploration stage.
I could wander the streets anywhere. Drop me off and I'll be fine. So I personally enjoy it. So I drag this guy along anywhere we go.
I'm just the chauffeur.
And he's been done great because some of the roads you never know. And but it was just we wanted to explore. We wanted to see how it feels. We rented a car in Barcelona and then we drove from there all the way down here. And we broke it down. We stopped in Valencia. We stopped in Fuengirola. We looked at some properties that we had seen on some websites at the time until then when we were focused and then found Cass, who helped us through the rest of the process, every step of the way.
So what were the candidates, Jonida? Like, you had Barcelona, was it Barcelona, Valencia, Malaga, or what were the three areas you were looking at?
That we knew we wouldn't have been Barcelona. We knew it wasn't going to be Valencia.
Alicante we were looking at.
But again, even when we went back and we had more time to take it all in and start planning, we started looking more at the weather. We started looking at more, closely. Personally, I love Valencia. My all-time favorite is Madrid. So if we ever get to, he hasn't been yet.
Oh, wow.
But I knew we wanted a slower, warmer weather. So then once we came across you, and then from there, it just worked that we came across Cass, and Ali reached out to Cass, and then she walked us through the rest of the process. She introduced us to your team. We looked at all the area here. She's like, you really have to come. So then that brought us to last summer, which I had family getting married in Albania. So I said, well, we're going to Albania. Let's make a full trip of it. Pulled the kids out of school a couple of weeks earlier, and we were here for 2.5 weeks exploring this particular area. So Estepona, and then Marbella.
That whole
So you then sort of honing into this area, speak to Cass. What was your wish list or your non-negotiables for your property search, and how was first contact with market? Like, were you in line with expectations? Were you surprised positively, negatively? What were tell us about the property journey.
Sure. I mean, for me, the deal was, because we had a farm back in Canada.
Wow. So, farm?
Yeah, it was a hobby farm that turned into a little bit more than a hobby farm. Like, we had 5 horses, 3 cows, 60 sheep, 200 chickens, 3 dogs. I mean,
big farm in my eyes.
Yeah. A few goats, it was a hobby farm that turned into a whole process. But for me, I'm like, if we're gonna give all that up, it has to be somewhere where it's close to the beach. Like, I'm going to trade the farm for the beach. So close to the beach. And then we ran into the issue of the A7, the highway, and everything on the other side of the beach. First off, you're too close. You're getting a lot of the beach weather and the humidity.
That's my personal preference of not wanting to be. I know most people want that beachfront property, but that wasn't what I wanted.
You wanted to be close to the beach, but not beachfront.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, okay, if you're on the other side of the A7, then how are you getting there with kids? Like, do you have to literally get in the car every time to go? So it was a whole bunch of factors like that. Then we literally, how did we come across the Casares property? I think Cass just showed us, no?
Well, so that brings us to when it was time to actually do the visa application and the move itself. So last summer when we were here, she wanted to fully understand what we wanted. So she showed us a variety of properties, from apartments to single villas to fincas with pools on both sides of the A7 for ease. If it had an overpass, could you get to there easily and things like that. So we knew we wanted to stay in the area. We didn't want to be in Estepona, but we wanted to be around Estepona. We wanted to make it a permanent. You guys moved over,
decided, I'm going to move into my property.
We're making this work. We're not going to wishy-washy, see how it goes. We're making this work and be there for our kids to make this transition. So in January, our house sold, and once that that kickstarted the process. And at that point, we were like, Cass, we're good to go. Let's just go. Now this is go time. So she went and did viewings for us, took videos of them. And the house that we are in now, it's a townhome. It's an 8-minute walk to the beach, which is super easy with the kids. It's underpass. They can be in the neighborhood. It's an urbanization, but they can be in the neighborhood and be worry-free because it's closed in. And it was perfect. When it's meant to be, because we had seen some houses last summer and we were ready to even, potentially go ahead with it at the time, and we're like, no, something is not right. But with this one this is it. Like, don't even question it.
Did you guys move forward on the property without seeing it?
We did. We saw it through, Cass showed us with video.
Wow.
And she walked through the neighborhood. She walked to the area, because we have a park behind the area. She did the walk to the beach to show us the neighborhood overall. And I still have those videos saved and her narrating what she sees in all the process.
The problem was, for us, the time crunch was we were aiming for the golden visa. Before it gets nullified.
You know what? You've just opened up a box of memories. I completely forgot about this, and I remember we were actually involved in this entire golden visa. We'll actually overlay.
We're the ones. We're the ones.
Yes.
So we sold in January, but the closing wasn't until after March.
Beginning of March.
And then the golden visa was ending on April 3rd. So we had to basically do all the paperwork, everything, get it in line, and get our application in before April 3rd. So that put a time crunch on everything. So there was no time to fly back and see the place. Like we bought that place off of WhatsApp, literally, with Cassandra's help. Like, she was amazing, and her whole legal team. Like,
Cass, you rock.
Yeah, you do. You really do. And which brings us to another thing: never do anything in Spain without a lawyer. Like,
100%.
So we had all our T's crossed, thanks to Cassandra and your team. And then we finally we put in our application 5 days, 10 days before.
It was the 26th of March.
Before the deadline.
Because I remember very well that I had that call from Cass, and she was like, there was a problem with one of the properties, right? And then you couldn't complete on one of the properties, and you had that deadline where you had to complete on like 200,000 or 250,000 in order to get that golden
because
visa.
that owner didn't have his paperwork in line in order to sell to us. Like, it wasn't our problem.
Exactly.
And then I'm like, Cass, help us out. Like, this is do or bust at this point.
And you guys ended up buying one of the properties that me and my wife were going to buy as an investment. And we're like, okay, you know what? We won't buy.
So we're very grateful for that.
No
he
problem,
literally
no
saved
problem.
our ass. Like, I was just
Honestly, like.
I mean, literally, you guys are going to meet Valentin, which is my builder later. So
we met him twice, just literally 20 minutes before this interview too, just to go over some stuff.
Nice.
It's that when it's meant to happen, it happens. And if you believe it, that's at the beginning of the year, because we had been all year last year, it's like, with the house not selling and the market being different in Canada and all that. And I told Ali at the beginning of the year, I'm like, this is it. This is how it's happening. Like, we had showings for our house at the time, and I said, I feel it, this is it. I just didn't care for the time crunch. Because that meant we had to empty an entire farmhouse, four bedroom, like massive house.
Within 2 months.
Within 2 months, and everything in it, because we sold everything in it. We had spoken to Cassandra, we had read online, and it said, don't bother bringing things like that. You never know what's going to fit. You never know how it's going to work, let alone moving it. And moving from last year to this year, the cost had doubled. And so
you mean the relocation
cost?
Yeah, because of tariffs and all those issues and stuff.
It was way more expensive, and so we had that conversation. So in 6 weeks, literally 6 weeks, we sold everything in the house. And we moved in a temporary space with my mom, thankfully.
Because once you put in your visa application, then you have to wait for the process to take through. So it was another 2 months of waiting for their paperwork to be done. And honestly, we didn't want to be tax residents this year. Like, again, all the videos that we watched from your YouTube channel, we didn't want to be tax residents this year because we sold in Canada this year. So, and in Canada, you don't have capital gains tax. So everything fit in line that we literally lived with her mom in a small condo for 2.5 months, so that we're past the threshold.
Yeah, the threshold.
And then
Absolutely.
2 days after the threshold was done, we booked our one-way ticket to Spain. Like,
you guys are a definition of a success story. Like, a definition. It wasn't easy. There was hurdles along the way.
No, yeah.
You know, it's
But
stressful.
we make a good team.
Right?
I think we like I'm a little bit I just wing it. We'll just figure it out. Whereas she just grounds me and she's like, well, no, you got to plan this and this and
You know,
this.
that's the best combination of couples.
Yeah, like I was gonna just literally take a family of 5 and move into an empty house, and she's like, "No, we have to have IKEA deliver the beds and everything the same day that we arrive," which was brilliant because then we just put beds together and the kids had somewhere to sleep the first night.
And you're like, nah. You know,
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, they'll
beds
be okay. Yeah.
overrated.
We need beds.
Having them show up at the right address without actually knowing if that is your right address to give somebody to deliver, that I was very impressed by.
Wow.
Because it took me a while to realize, like, on the deed of our house, the address is written a certain way because that's how the city recognizes it. But then for deliveries, you don't
Totally.
quite write it the same way.
That's a
and
pro
so
tip
that
right there.
was that was me trying to figure out what would be the right way. And at 4 p.m. they showed up.
That's a real pro tip. So the official property address might not be the actual address you'd use for an IKEA delivery. There you go, guys.
We were 3 days into moving, so we'd moved, had our beds and everything set up, and then we went for a walk down by the beach, and I remember I messaged Cass and our lawyer. I'm like, thank you guys, thank you, like from the bottom of my heart, thank you, because literally after all the stress of that entire year and the condensed like 3 months of going through picking up, because it's a risk. Like we took a risk. On my end, maybe she didn't feel it as much, but I'm like, well, I'm picking up a family of 5 and I feel that burden on my shoulders. But the spot is perfect. Like the whole atmosphere of the neighborhood we're in and the vibe is just amazing. I would take it in a heartbeat every single time, just to be able to walk down that promenade, see the mountains in the back and the view of the ocean in the front. Like it's breathtaking every time. So I'm grateful for that. I think we lucked out. That's the honest truth.
Exactly.
We're settled in now. The kids are at school. We have some kind of a schedule.
That one very managing in what way?
In being realistic of it, it's not going to be all sunshine and, yes, it's sunshine outside, but not everything is easy, and there's been tears and getting used to a new school, not speaking the language,
Actually,
all of that.
Could you sort of, for the young relocators, younger relocators with kids coming over to Spain, how did your kids adapt? How was that like,
They're still in the process. I mean, there's days that they leave in the morning with tears, but I don't think it's necessarily because it's relocation related. I think it's just school related, because
They left their friends.
right, and it's also they're leaving us as well, right? It's a day-to-day. Like our youngest is 4; he started
he's
school
still
this year,
he's
right?
very
So
small.
he would have had this issue, I believe, even in Canada, because it's leaving, right? So the added language component, yes, they come home and they're like, I have no idea what's going on half the time. I don't understand what they're asking me. My teacher asked me to read. I cried, and it's part of the process, right? And so my talk with them is, well, that's okay. So how can we say, let's practice. What can you say next time that happens to say that I don't understand where I'm supposed to read, or I don't know where I need to read from, or my oldest, for example, because she's the one that I had this conversation with, she can read and write in English, no problem. And so we've been practicing just reading. With Spanish, you can read it as is, as long as you know the right pronunciation of some of the letters. And so it's having that, like, the expectation. It's not going to be great. There's going to be at least a year of this until they get used to it.
Yeah.
But in a year from now, we're going to be asking them what people are saying to us. And I know it's going to happen because it happened to us when we moved in Canada. Within the year, I was able to speak English way better than my mom could. And to this day, I still do lots of help in those areas, so it's just little poco a poco.
I just got inspired for a new playlist for the YouTube channel, which is Parent Talks. There you go. Hey, Luna likes that one. Parent Talks. Oh, great idea. Sit down, parents of younger families are relocating to Spain and the process of relocating with kids. That's like a perfect amount of content for the channel.
I mean,
Perfect,
we-
good,
we-
valuable content for the channel.
We watched your videos too about relocating with families, and we're like, well, we want to integrate our kids.
Yeah.
Like, we're here to assimilate. We're not here to become
Yeah.
foreigners or expats and
Yeah.
just talk English the whole time. So we literally put them in a public Spanish school. Like, when I moved to Canada, I didn't speak a word of English. I moved from Greece. I was there for 3 years after Iran. All I knew was Greek. And they just threw me into grade 2. And I was fine.
Yeah,
like, I
kids,
learned.
they adapt.
Exactly.
They
Adapt and learn.
100%.
And right now, even our youngest, he says a whole bunch of words in Spanish, right? So he comes home and he's like, hola, ¿cómo estás? You know, venga, arriba, like stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my God, like you're picking up a lot faster than I am. So their brain is like a sponge.
It's a
They'll pick it
sponge,
up.
100%.
So we made that choice that they're going to go into Spanish school. They're going to be Spanish-raised kids in this community because, honest to God, like I've seen it all. I've been all around the world. In terms of family values, Spain is top notch.
Totally.
Without a doubt, I will fight everyone tooth and nail on this one. The smallest things, even playing at a park. Like we've had incidences where Alex has got hurt. In Canada, if someone gets hurt at a park, a simple example, you won't believe it. If a kid gets hurt at a park, you can't go near that kid out of fear of
The parent retaliating.
yes, or getting in trouble, or them calling the cops, or anything. It's a simple thing.
yeah.
Here, well, it depends on the neighborhood, but that's the honest truth. That's where society
There
is.
has been-
Okay, for that specific reason. Here, Alex falls. 3 or 4 parents are up on him, like,
Yeah.
oh my God, what happened? It's normal.
Yeah, it's the Spanish culture. It's you know, we're very sort of family oriented, very friendly, and also very warm blooded. You know, we want to make sure
Yes.
that everyone's okay. You know, and that sort of you'll see that in the parks. You know, exactly. You're completely right. You're
But to
completely
take
right.
that to every other level, like we haven't had a moment where we feel unwelcome at all.
So it's funny, he says that when it comes to Spaniards, I haven't had any interactions it's all been positive. It's all been, even if my broken Spanish that I try and speak, they try and adjust it, or they will help me speak it or say things correctly, and they'll figure out what I'm trying to say. We've had actually a more standoffish reaction to because we have 3 kids. They're loud everywhere we go. It's chaotic. Not gonna lie, it's the reality. And we've actually had more of a standoffish, like, what are you doing kind of attitude from people not living here. Or tourists, because we're also in a touristy area. So now it's calmed down and now it's our neighborhood. And I'm actually happy to see that with the neighborhood we are in, there is a lot of locals where the kids are going to the same schools, they get on the same bus in the morning. You know, you see several different schools go through with all their buses. So it's full of kids and it's people that are there year round, because sometimes you don't know with the areas. But we've had really positive, so far it's been positive. Yes, things are different, things take time. Paperwork is not necessarily the same or as mainstream perhaps, or more automated as it is in Canada. Yeah. But for me, I was telling Ali yesterday, I'm like going from one office to get this paper to then go pay to the bank. I'm used to that. This is how Albania is too. Yeah. Yeah. So for me, the family feel and the fact that you have to do all these things doesn't even bother me. And I'm lucky to say that I work from home, so I have the possibility to take the time during the day if I need to do that and readjust my schedule. Not everybody has that, totally. So I get that part of it. But we made that choice, so then when our kids do get home, we have the time together. So if they had a bad day, we can go for a bike ride by the beach. We can go get ice cream. We don't have to focus on just school if school was not the best. But so far, no complaints with the school either. Like, absolutely no complaints. They also helped us a lot because not all 3 of them were going to be at the same school initially, and they made sure that all 3 are at the same school.
Simple things in Canada, like if I need a propane tank, I'll just buy a propane tank in Costco. It'll take me 3 minutes to do. Here, it was a whole hurdle. It took me 2 days because you can't just buy a propane tank.
You need to know the system.
You need to know the system.
You need to know the contract.
With my Google Translator and my broken Spanish and everything. So I learned that, oh my God, I have to first go to Estepona, register for a propane tank. And I'm a big griller, so I needed 2. So the whole...
Griller?
Yes. So why do you need 2 propane tanks? Like a whole bunch of stuff like that. And then once you get that piece of paper, literally a piece of paper signed, Then you take that to the industrial area to get propane tanks, and then you take that to a gas station to get a full one. Like, it's a whole process, which took me 2 days to realize how to do. There's hurdles like that, but again, I would take that 100 times over.
Nuances of Spain, small things that you need to sort of learn as you go.
Yeah.
I think like your story is amazing. Honestly, like I'm just listening to you. My eyes are open, my ears just listening to every detail that you're. Oh, just damn, my mic was up there. Sorry, Ali, Jonida. I love to hear your success story, your journey. It's so inspiring and it's so truthful and real. So thanks, obviously, for joining us today. I have one question, and the question is: right now, there's someone that might be in North America, US, Canada, Northern Europe, that's watching this video right now. It could be a young family, it could be people which are looking to retire. As a, buyer that's gone through the journey, what would be your most valuable advice for the person that's listening to you right now, for those future buyers, as buyers today, or owners, what's your advice to them?
Plain and simple, only use the high team. That's honestly, from my background, I work with realtors in Canada. I know hundreds of them.
I didn't pay him to say that, I promise.
No. There's a very, very small percentage, I would say 1 or 2% in all of my work field that I would be like, well, I'm going to buy or sell with them. Keon's team is one of those in Spain. So work with a reputable realtor, and if they tell you don't get a lawyer, run away as fast as you can. Get a lawyer. For anything you want to do, get a lawyer. Other than that, I mean, the rest, that's my financial advice. In terms of whether or not to move to Spain, I mean, we've done it. To keep it real, there's a lot of hurdles. But if you actually want to do it, nothing can stop you, right?
Definitely do your due diligence in asking all the questions, whether it's area, do the reading that you want, and ultimately see what it feels for you when you are doing all of that. And if you're able to come visit, definitely come visit so you get a better feel for it while here. But do your due diligence, ask all the questions, and find out timelines. So we lucked out with our school applications. Thinking back, we should have done more research on that. So due diligence, essentially what it comes down to.
Amazing.
And not be afraid to actually go through with it.
Take action. Guys, this has been a super enjoyable interview. It's been amazing to share your story with our audience, our core High Homes audience. So thank you so much for joining. It's a perfect wrap. And I'll send the message to you guys watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed our content, this video. I hope you enjoyed listening to Ali and Jonida. If you have any questions for them, for us, feel free to obviously type them in the section below, in our comment section. We'll be happy to answer you as soon as possible. And like always, if you found this content valuable, we would love for you to press that button and like this video so we know that we're producing the right sort of content for you. And if you are new to the space and you haven't come across High Homes before, press that button, subscribe to the High Homes YouTube channel so we can keep you posted with content regarding Spanish real estate and everything about real estate on Costa del Sol, lifestyle, and much more. Guys, let's say bye to them. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.